Welcome back to Creating Stuff with Jim. I'm Jim. It's time to create something. In the previous episode, you saw us build a crawl box for the Inferno build. Now, in this episode, we're going to go over how we're going to shift both the crawl box and the full transfer case. Let's get into it. All right, this is the kit that we're going to be using to shift the crawl box and the full transfer case. This is called a triple stick. This is actually commercially available. This is made by a company called Rad Design. It's pretty interesting, and you're going to see the benefits that it has. So with this kit, it comes with the forward shifter mount, which basically this goes around the factory shifter on the crawl box. Hardware kit, and it comes with a housing with the shift forks for the rear transfer case, and these rods will connect the forward shift levers to the rear shift housing. Then we bolted all down, and the best part about this is all the levers for shifting everything comes out of one spot, so we don't have to cut the interior up as much. But we're just going to put this on. We're going to try it out. I'm going to demonstrate it, and then most of it's going to have to come back off so we can install all this stuff in the truck. Let's get to work.
All right, we're on to the next part. This really doesn't have anything to do with building a crawl box, but this is the rear chain drive Tacoma transfer case that I'm going to be using. And the biggest modification I have to do to it is I have to remove an interlock between the mode and range shift rod in this transfer case. And the reason I'm doing this is because of the triple stick I'm using. This enables me so I can shift the two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive shift rod mode independently from the high-low range in this case. So that's what an interlock does, and if you continue to watch my videos, we're going to talk more about interlocks again in some other videos. That's not even a gearbox. So just an interlock prevents something from moving until something else moves first. So how this is set up right now is when I'm in two-wheel drive high range, I cannot shift from high range to low range unless I'm in four-wheel drive. So I want a two-wheel drive option just because it's nice when you're cruising down the trail. You don't have to put any unnecessary wear on your front axle when it's not needed. But the actual gear reduction is needed. But the gear reduction makes it a lot easier on the truck, and the truck doesn't have to work as hard. So now, here's a confession. This is the very first time I've ever taken one of these cases apart. So guess what? We're going to learn together. So let's get into it.
The small piece of metal you see me holding in my right hand is a small pill-like piece of metal. That is the interlock that keeps the two shift rods moving at the appropriate time. That's the piece I had to remove to make all this work. In addition to the interlock, I also had to modify one of the shift rods. So just a little bit of grinder work and it'll be good to go.
Alright, now that we got the rear transfer case all modified so the triple stick will work correctly, and like I said, these are just temporarily bolted together. These are coming apart to install in the truck. But now we're gonna install the triple stick and see how all that works. I'm gonna start off by installing the rear housing, and I am putting RTV on this because this is getting sealed up. This is going to be staying on and will not be coming back off. And we do have a vent that we're going to connect from this fitting all the way up to the transmission, but that's going to be a little bit later when all this is installed in the truck. All right, now that the rear housing's in, we're going to set the front shifter in place. Now, this is not going to get sealed. You have to make sure it's in the shift fork, and actually I want it facing the other way. No, that was right. Now, this is not getting sealed because this is coming back off so I can install the crawl box when it's time to put it in the truck. So now we're going to take the triple stick front shifter assembly. We're going to drop that down in place. Put a couple bolts, and these bolts go through the stock shifter housing. All right. Now we're going to connect these links with bolts to the levers on the rear housing. Well, as you can probably tell, I had a little mishap. I'm not hiding that I'm not perfect. This is the first time I've dealt with this stuff. Because I originally put this housing down with some RTV, and every factory Toyota housing I've ever put on, I always put RTV in, it's just fine. Apparently this housing needs something different. It needs a little bit more of a shim. So I went ahead and made a gasket. This gasket is a little soft, it's cork. I'm going to go ahead and probably make it a different one out of, I'll probably put 2 gaskets on there out of a tougher material because this tends to move around a little bit. But it did fix the problem I was having because it wasn't shifting into single low. Now, back where we were we'll start back over from the top. So we start with this lever. This is your mode, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. Turning the input shaft, rear output shaft, they're turning 1-to-1 together. The front input, or correction, my front output shaft is not turning at all. Shift this lever back. Now I have, I'm giving power to the front axle or the front output shaft and the rear, and they're both turning at a 1-to-1. Now this lever, I shift this down into forward into low range. Now you can see that the input shaft is moving twice as fast as the rear one. That's our gear reduction. That's what we're talking. This is the 2.58 gear reduction that this case has. So now, and then I'll take this front lever, which does the crawl, or now I'm going to take the low range for the rear case. I'm going to shift this back into 1-to-1. That was my single low. Now I'm going to take the crawl box, shift it forward. Now, this is my double low, 4.7-to-1. This is moving 4.7 times faster than these two. That's my double low. Now we're going triple low. Throw this lever forward. Now this is this is everything. This is a 4.7 with a 2.58 together. And so this is about 12-to-1. So this has to turn 12 times every one turn of that. So that's a lot of gear reduction. And you notice the whole time, the front drive shaft is turning. And for whatever reason, at any time, I can pull the mode lever forward, and now all I have is that ultra low gear in the rear axle and not the front. And then I can engage it at any time I want.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I really like doing good old-fashioned mechanical work. So if you like the video, please like it, share it with your friends, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And if you want to come back and see what all this stuff looks like when I get it installed in the truck, I say come on back to the next one. I will see you later on the next one.